Okay, so back from Ireland. That's the end of the Series 1 on the Wild Atlantic Way. I hope you enjoyed it and thanks for watching. But I am straight into Series 2 now, and I've decided to go back to Morocco again. I have already ridden Morocco once, and only once. It was a few years ago now. I went during or just before I should say, or didn't go during, it would be bad. I went just before the first lockdown. Luckily got a good trip in there. My first trip to Africa, and it was absolutely fantastic. Absolutely loved it. If you haven't ridden Morocco before, one of the best places in the world for bike riding, certainly one of the best places I've ever been, and so good I'm going to go back. So yeah, my plan is 3 weeks time, Monday 24th of April, get the ferry out of Portsmouth, which is just up the road from me, literally about a 5-minute bike ride away. That leaves about 9:30 I think on the Monday night, gets into Spain on Wednesday morning. So I'm going to do a slightly different route this time. Last time I rode down through France. I got the Portsmouth ferry to Caen overnight, gets in at like 6-7 in the morning, run down to, I think I made it to about Biarritz on the first night, then I went over the Pyrenees, and I was around Madrid for the second night, and then I headed on down to Tarifa, which is one of the places you can get the ferry from to Tangier, or Tangier Med I went to times. So my plan is, from Portsmouth you can get the Portsmouth Santander ferry. Now that leaves on the Monday night 9:30, all day Tuesday, and then it gets into Santander on Wednesday morning. Now what I'm going to do then is just blast down as quickly as I can to Algeciras, which is where I'm going to get the ferry from this time. It does mean that I can get into Algeciras hopefully by sort of 7 o'clock on what will be Wednesday evening, the 27th I think it is, and I'll just quickly stay there overnight, and it's literally, you know, a couple of hundred yards to the ferry port. So on Thursday morning, and having done very well, I've done the 650 miles through Spain, but I can get into Morocco. And so that's my plan this time, cut out all of northern France, or all of France, and unfortunately missed the Pyrenees, but I'll be doing that a couple of times later on this year as well. So that's the plan. So this time I'm planning on being a little bit braver. I've still got the enduro tyres on from doing the Wild Atlantic Way, and I'm going to keep them on, which is another reason for missing out northern France. I'm not wearing them down too much, and I'm planning on doing quite a lot more off-road this time. I've done quite a lot of practice up at Salisbury Plain. I'm a bit more confident riding enduro. I think I kind of know pretty much what I'm doing. I'm no expert by any means, but you know, I'm not crapping myself every time I hit a bit of gravel this time. So I haven't done any practice loaded up with all my gear though, so that's still a slight worry, but I'm sure we'll be alright. And so the plan is this time to go Algeciras into Tangier Med, and then I've picked this windy little route across the mountains, which should be pretty good, before heading down to Casablanca. I'm going to stay in Casablanca the first night. Always wanted to go to Casablanca for some reason. So I'm going to head there, and I'm going to head down the coast road to Essaouira, and overnight there again. But then I'm going to head inland, and I've got, I think, hopefully a great route across to Tarandant is, I think, where I'm heading to. And it goes sort of south and inland from Essaouira, and then I found this route over the mountains, which I'm looking forward to. It's, I think, about 80 odd miles off-road. I've got a slight concern with that, in that my sat-nav says it's a route, but when I looked it up on Google Maps, it said the route actually ended halfway through. So a little bit concerned about what the deal is there. It looks to me like it's a dirt track, and then the last little bit over the mountain, which as far as I can work out is only a couple of miles or so, looks like it's just a path, like a footpath. So with any luck I'll be able to get around that. I don't know if they'll have a barrier there or something, or if the path just narrows, but I'm pretty confident I'll be able to go over that. That won't be an issue. You can see that there's some kind of route on the satellite imagery, so that should be fun. That's about 60 miles or so, so I'm looking forward to that bit. Head round to Tarandant, and then I'm actually going to go and ride the Tizian Test northwards this time. Obviously I did it coming from Marrakesh, I did it south last time, so I'm going to go over it the other way this time. I'm going to head up to Marrakesh and then work my way back round to Ouarzazate, and I've picked just the windiest routes I can find on the map to do that. And then from there I'm going to start heading north again, and then eventually I'm going to head back up to Fez overnight, and then round to Chefchaouen and ride the N8 again, because that was such a great bit of road. and then getting the ferry back Friday morning to Algeciras again. And I'm actually going to meet my wife over in Faro, so I've got a few hundred miles to do in across to Faro in Portugal, Portimao, just before doing the ride back up to Santander. So I should be able to get a few nice mountain routes in the area. There's a few bits and pieces. I haven't worked out what route I'm going to do yet. I'm going to wait until I'm in Faro, that route, but that's basically the plan. So a couple of weeks all up, 2.5 weeks I think it is, albeit sort of 4 or 5 days of that is, 4 days of that will be on, or probably 3 days, 3.5 days will be on the ferry. So that's what you've got to look forward to in this series, imaginatively titled Moroccan Roll. I hope you enjoy. Please don't forget to subscribe below and give me a thumbs up if you like it. Okay, so just had an extremely quick boarding of the ferry. It's actually started to rain outside, which is a little bit annoying. Luckily I've only had to go about 2 miles to get onto this boat, but I think some wise guy somewhere, I don't mean wise guy, I mean wise guy somewhere, or gal, made a decision to let all the bikers get on first. So it's just started to get a little bit heavier rain. They called us all forward. Maybe they always learn like that, I don't know, but it meant we didn't have to sit out in the rain for longer than about 2 minutes. So straight in, straight on board, which is absolutely fantastic. Just getting dark, just having a chat to a couple of the other guys that are getting on, all dressed up in their rain gear. People have ridden up from Devon and Cornwall and spent 6 hours on the road already, so rather puts my about 4 or 5 minutes coming from Southsea to shame. But just having a quick beer, and not due to get going until about 9:30, so another hour or so before we head off. So I imagine it'll probably be pretty dark by then, but should be able to get some shots leaving the harbour, and hopefully that'll be lit up nice, so check back in then. Well, the clear skies of the Channel have unfortunately given way to the stormy seas of the Biscay. Luckily it's not too rough, but it's definitely got a bit cloudier, a bit mistier, a little less nice. About, I know, 5 o'clock or so on Tuesday afternoon now. Weather has taken a decided turn for the worse. There was nice blue skies earlier going around, I think around sort of Quimper, Brest area, northern France. Jesus. Now we're in the Bay of Biscay. It's blowing an absolute gale. Luckily the boat's relatively steady, but it's bloody windy, it's rainy, almost been blown off the top of the deck already. Got smacked in the head coming out the door on the way out. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to open it getting back in. As you can see, it's pretty gloomy, not very nice. I'll tell you what, if the weather was like this on the bike on the road, I'd be very, very disappointed. So I'm glad I'm just on the boat. I'm glad the bar's open. I can go and have a beer inside in the warm, because this is horrible. But there we go, look at that. Looks like England. That is not what we're after. Jesus.
Hola. Gracias. Besides that thing. So here we go then, just off the ferry in Santander. It is, what time is it? Got about 8:30, is it? Oh no, my clock says 7:15, but it's actually 8:15, I think. Hello, don't want to go that way. Good to declare. No, pets, no. What's going on? So I'll see if I can change my clock at some point. No doubt I'll have a complete balls up trying to do that. But 8:15, we've got to run down to Algeciras now, which, as you can see, 627 miles. That's a hell of a run. It does say 6:30, which isn't too bad. What's that, about 10 hours? But I've got it set to car, just so it gives me the quickest route rather than the winding route I normally set on my sat nav with Motorbike. So I reckon I should be able to knock a good couple of hours off that, adding another hour back for breaks, and I reckon aim to be there for 5:30, which would be absolutely fine. Unfortunately, my ferry tomorrow, which I had booked for 9 AM from Algeciras, it's a pretty nice time, not too early, not too late, gives you enough time to get a decent day's riding on the other side. But I noticed that that was cancelled, which gave me the shits briefly. I was a little bit worried about that, but I got back on the blower to them, and I was able to sort it out pretty quick. And it's now moved, or right, it's not moved, there's a different ferry at 6 AM, which has advantages and disadvantages. It means it's bugger all sleep. Get in tonight after a decent night's ride, decent day's ride, and then pretty much got to get up again at, I don't know, probably 4 o'clock tomorrow. It says you're going to check in an hour and a half beforehand, which seems a little bit excessive. But if I'm up at 4, be there for 4:30, maybe 4:30, be there for 4:45, something like that. But it does at least give me an extra 3 hours hopefully in Morocco, which is after all the whole point of being here. So I'm not too distraught about that, no big deal. But it is going to be fairly brutal 24 hours with a long ride down today and then an early start tomorrow. But I've got a hotel booked, so that was turned out to be a wise move. In Algeciras, right next to the port, so I should be only 5-10 minutes away from getting into the port, which is nice, so I don't have to worry about that too much. Where are we going here? Need to get onto a motorway and get this over and done with. Well, a lot of people on that ferry. It's like 3-4 decks, that ferry, of cars. And when we turned up last night, straight on, which was fantastic, it was just raining and it was threatening to rain a bit harder, and I didn't bother putting on all my wet weather gear because I was only nipping across from Southsea. Oh, fuck me. Sorry. Whoops, wrong way. want to go. Just upset someone just then. Where am I going? I've got to try and get down there somewhere. Where's this going? I've got to turn right up here. Into here, I think. Where's this take me to? Bilbao. I don't want to go to Bilbao, but trust the sat nav at least. It's a bit damp this morning. I didn't want to put it on any gear. I think it'll clear up, wouldn't it? It looks like it's been raining. It's not raining now. All these people on their GS's getting off the ferry. It's funny. The amount of gear they had on. I've never seen so much gear. They were dressed like it was the middle of winter. Unbelievable. Just like it was the middle of winter, full on, trim outfits, head to toe, and I'm thinking, geez, you guys are all going to be stopping in 20 minutes time to take all that gear off. But actually, it's not cold, it's certainly not cold. What's the temperature? I reckon it's about, I was going to say 15, 17 actually. Pretty nice, pretty good. So, now we've just got to run down to Algeciras, so 12 hours or so, 11 hours, 10 hours. Try and change that clock at some point. How do I do that? Mode. Menu. No. I don't have to turn off for 12 miles, so probably can't do it when you're moving along. Oh well, I think we'll leave that. Yeah, I could be off the 3 fill-ups to get there. About 50 miles out of, 30 miles out of Santander now. I was actually pretty impressed. I managed to get off that ferry pretty quick. There were so many people on it. It had like 3 decks full of cars and lorries. There must have been a good 100 bikers on it as well. And I was thinking, man, am I going to be sat trying to get through customs for an hour, which is going to push me back enormously. But actually, I just stuck out ahead of the group of bikers I was behind, got pretty near the front of the queue. I don't waste any time, so I just get on with it. And unlike the British customs officers, there were loads of Spanish customs officers there. They were all over the place. They had every single booth open. So I was waiting in line, 3 people in front of me. The guy comes down and says, let me take your passport. He goes and checks it in. So by the time I come up to the counter, I just stamps it, bang, I'm on my way. So it probably only took me 10-15 minutes to from getting off the boat to getting through, which is absolutely fantastic. So I was pretty pleased with that, given I've got such a long ride to do today. So I've got about 257 mile range. It's about 100 miles to my next turn off, so I think my plan is, look at the viaduct. Do like a viaduct. Plan is to push on through this 100 miles and then maybe stop and just top the fuel off. I'll only be about halfway through the tank by then, but I'm slightly concerned that I'm not going to make it in a reasonable time to Algeciras. If I have any kind of delays, I'm not sure I'll be arriving on time, so I need to kind of push on a little bit. So I'm going to get this 100 miles out of the way, stop and have a coffee, maybe some breakfast. I had a quick cup of coffee before I got off the boat. I haven't eaten yet, so I'll need a bottle of water, a coffee and a croissant probably. So we'll do that in 100 odd miles and then maybe look to do a fuel up at the same time as well.
So I've done about 150 miles or so now. I've just pulled over for a quick fuel up in this petrol station, about 150 miles south of Santander. Thankfully the sun's come out. It was really quite chilly this morning. I've dressed up for Spanish summer weather and it was about 12 degrees coming out, so I was a little bit cold. I hadn't got any of my heated gear on or anything like that, so yeah, misjudged that slightly. That was me taking the piss out of everybody else in all their full-on Klim gear, and it was actually me that was the one that was underdressed, so I was a little bit cold. But the sun is well out now, so it's about 10 o'clock, I think, 10:15. It looks like it's going to be warming up a little bit, so hopefully it'll be alright from now on in. So about 500, a little bit less than 500 miles to go, so I'll have to do another fuel stop, probably another 2 fuel stops actually, but making decent progress, cruising along, 70 miles an hour, no problem, traffic's pretty good, so yeah, cruisy ride, but still some decent mileage left to go.
Alright, getting a bit of blue skies and sunshine. Holy moly, yes! Woo! Sunshine! On a cloudy day. What are we? 14 degrees still though. Jesus. Oh, I haven't seen that for a while. The bike shadow. We're finally out of winter. Thank God. Keep heading south, keep heading warm. I'm so looking forward to it being warm. Cannot tell you. It's just been cold for 6 months. Ugh. But as I said, still only 14 degrees. It's a lot that warm. So it's about midday now, just turned midday. Down to 390 miles left. So what have I done? 240 or 250 miles. About 8:15. So that's about 3.5 hours, 3 or 3/4 hours. Got to get on for 4 hours actually, not quite 4 hours. So ETA is still showing 6:25. I did stop for a cup of coffee and a refuel delicious glazed croissant, so I'll do that again in maybe an hour or so. Hopefully pick up a sandwich for lunch, but since we're making pretty good time, so 6.5 hours left, that doesn't sound too bad. Get another stop in at some point, doing alright for fuel, so luckily traffic's been pretty light, hasn't been any worse than this all day so far. It's significantly warmed up, it's about 10 degrees warmer than it was when I set out this morning, so it's actually quite nice now. Hands had frozen a little bit, not frozen because it's still 12 degrees, but they were turning white. One of my fingers is very white and very numb, so thanks for that, dissipated. But yeah, making pretty good progress. 385 to go, so yeah, hopefully it shouldn't be in too much after 6. I think at this rate should be doing pretty well. Okay, so it's about 20 to 2 and a half on, no, 20 to 2, I was right, 20 to 2. We're just past halfway. Just topped back up with fuel, had a little quick stop, quick cup of coffee and a power bar, keep me going. Top just picked up enormously, it's now 27 degrees. I had to ditch my very thick socks and put on some thinner ones. Get rid of my thermal under top, which I was pretty grateful for this morning when I started shivering, but now is a bit too much, so back to t-shirt. Ditch my gloves as well, which I don't usually like to do, but it's motorway, so it should be okay. Remember to do the tuck and roll if I should have a crash. And yeah, so we're halfway. ETA is still looking at about, well, it says 20 to 7 now. That was down to about 10 past, but I stopped for about half an hour. So I'm pretty sure that'll be closer to, well, I was going to say 6 o'clock, but the reality is I'm going to have to do at least one more stop. I like to end the day with a full tank of fuel. I don't think this tank's going to get me all there. 400 k's range it says, about 300 miles, which is 480. So I'll have to fit it if I go as far as I can on this tank and then maybe fill up before I get there. Hopefully that'll give me a full enough tank when I get in. If not, I might just have to refuel a bit earlier and just top the tank off before I hit the hotel tonight, possibly first thing tomorrow morning, but probably tonight. And obviously there's fuel available all through Morocco, but I like to start the day with a full tank so I don't have to worry about getting fuel and starting and stopping again, so that's my plan. But yeah, 300 k's to go, 6:30, so about roughly another 5 hours. It's 5 hours exactly, it's another 5 hours, so we'll stop again in probably about 3 o'clock-ish, no, not 3 o'clock, maybe half 3, 4 o'clock-ish, and then do the last bit of the running, so hopefully it won't be too bad. It's pretty easy going, very little traffic. These Spanish motorways, they're always very fast, they're never very congested, he says, touch wood. You can make very good progress. You can just sit on, you know, well, I'm doing 150 at the moment, sit on about 120, 130 clicks. It's at about 75-ish, 75, 80 miles an hour roughly. Pretty comfortably, you can sit there for an hour at a time, no problem. So you can bash off some decent mileage. Just catching up to another bike with the front. Where's he from? Spain, 38, man, fucking hell, too much.
Okay, it's about 4:30 in the morning now on, what day is it? Thursday. Just jumped up. We stayed at the Globales something or other Reina Hotel last night. Not too bad, quite an old little building, but pretty decent. Lovely weather when we got here, so I was able to sit out on the terrace for a little bit and have a beer and something to eat. But it's a very early start. I've got a 6 AM ferry now this morning to Tangier Med, so you're supposed to check in an hour and a half beforehand, which is basically now. It's only, I think, 5 minutes up the road, so I'll shoot over there and get that done, get boarded, and hopefully I can get to the front of the queue and get my paperwork done before the massive queue starts. So I'm going to get down there early, try and get to the front of that queue if I can.
Fuck me, what the fuck? Oh, fucking hell. Put a fucking sign up. There we go, straight over there, I think. Fucking hell. We need to learn the art of some signage around here a bit earlier. It's fucking confusing. Seems to be a bit fucking confusing last time I came. Ended up driving around all over the shop. Does this look right? That looks vaguely right. Is that going to be it? A bit bigger than I was expecting. Voila! Well, if I get on first, that'll be an absolute result. I don't know how many people are. Didn't look like as many people here. Last time I was here, there were loads of people queued up. Although I think I was possibly slightly late. Well, that actually wasn't too difficult, was it? They could do with some significantly better signage at the start of this port, showing where you're supposed to be bloody going. I seem to remember, when did I say here, 3 or 4 years ago? And it was all roadworks and contraflows and back tracks and shit back then. Nothing's changed. ridiculous. Anyway, here now, hopefully we'll get on early doors, I can get my paperwork sorted, and we'll be laughing for getting my paperwork sorted in Morocco.
So it's about 6:45 AM. I'm literally just docking in Tangier Med on Thursday 27th, I think it is. Very hazy coming over. Couldn't see anything. In fact, if I spin round, see that cloud in the horizon. Came through that. Literally couldn't see 20 feet in front of the boat. But arrived into the port. As you can see, it's blue skies. I've just popped outside. It's quite warm. Probably about, I don't know, 18 degrees, I suppose, something like that. It's due to hit high 20s down in Casablanca, so it should be a nice ride. When I got here last time, it was extremely windy going over these mountains in the back. Probably can't quite make out the wind turbines flying around, so I'm going to be windy again. I mean, windy enough you have to kind of lean sideways on the bike. It's pretty bonkers. It doesn't look quite as bad today, so fingers crossed won't be quite so terrifying. But not that many people on the boat. I was just flicking back through my photos, and when I last did this one there must have been 60 odd bikes on instead as well. But this time I think I'm the only biker on this one. I was on a later ferry last time. I think I'm the only biker on this one, so hopefully I should be able to get through paperwork at the passport control and customs pretty quickly. We can get on the road, go on a slightly circuitous route down to Casablanca. Hopefully should be able to get some nice photography down there as well. So looks like we're about to just pull in, so I better get on with this.